Welcome to BNEWS Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher along with BNEWS Director Rich Hosford, BNEWS reporters Tad Stefanak and Robert Paris, Peter Brown with the weather, Liz Gillespie with sports, Jolie Atwood with the community calendar, and Marge McDonald with senior news. Thank you for joining us. The Burlington Board of Health is ready to ramp up its COVID-19 vaccinations of residents as the state enters phase 2 of the process, but they have an issue. They can't seem to get enough doses. Health Director Susan Luminello said they had planned to vaccinate 800 people in one day when phase 2 begins next week, but that the Massachusetts Department of Public Health has nowhere near that many doses of the vaccine to allot to the town. She said the DPH said the town would not receive more than 100 doses in a week until mid to late February. Phase 2, which begins on February 1, will first prioritize individuals over 75 years of age, followed by those 65 and over, or people with at least 2 comorbidities. After that comes educators, transit, utility, food and agriculture, sanitation, public works, and public health workers. The final group in the phase are individuals with 1 comorbidity. In phase 1, the Board of Health vaccinated 200 first responders and is set to deliver the second dose to them in the weeks ahead. Luminello, speaking at Tuesday night's Board of Health meeting, expressed frustration about the lack of doses of the vaccine and said not having a clear idea of how many will be coming available makes it impossible to plan for a big clinic. Here she is.
I will just say that people just need to have some patience where, we need to have patience. It's frustrating for us as well that we can't get as much vaccine out as we'd like to. But we can only work with what we have, and we're going to sign people up as quickly as we can and vaccinate as many people as we can based on what Department of Public Health allots to us.
After some lengthy discussion on Monday night, town meeting voted to approve the transfer of $40,000 to cover roughly half a year of salary for a proposed associate health director to help ease some of the burden on the Burlington Health Department and its staff. The article was promoted by Board of Health Chair Dr. Ed Weiner, Vice Chair Dave McSweeney, and Health Director Susan Luminello, who said that even before the pandemic, the staff was stretched thin, but since March has been going full out. They said this new position would help the health director by taking some of the day-to-day management responsibilities and by helping with tasks like emergency planning and working with incoming and existing biotech companies. There was some opposition to the proposal, mostly from people worried that the economic downturn due to the pandemic will have an impact on town finances. Town Administrator Paul Sagarino said the pandemic had decimated local receipts such as meals and hotel taxes and the fees for building permits. He said he thought they should take more time to examine the situation. Ways and Means also split, with 9 members voting in favor of the article and 5 against. One of those against pointed out the town meeting had also recently approved a new director-level position in the school department for $140,000, and if they approve this position as well, they would include them both in the FY22 budget. In the end, town meeting voted 72-14 to approve the new position. The Board of Selectmen has a new name, the Select Board. The decision to change the name was made Monday night after town meeting voted to approve 3 separate articles needed to make the change. There was a zoning bylaw change, a general bylaw change, and a home rule petition to have the new name recognized by the state. The new name is not official as of yet. Town Clerk Amy Warfield spoke with BNews Director Rich Hosford about the process of making the change, and he has this report.
On Monday, January 25th, Burlington Town Meeting voted overwhelmingly to approve 3 warrant articles to change the name of the Board of Selectmen to the Select Board to make it more gender neutral. So when does the name officially change? Town Clerk Amy Warfield joined me over Zoom to explain the process and why it won't happen right away.
There are a few things that have to be done next. The first thing is that the vote of town meeting is kind of like the first step. Any bylaw change, any zoning bylaw or general bylaw actually has to go to the Attorney General to get approval. So there's some things that I have to do, certifying the votes, getting that to the Attorney General to submit, and then they can take up to 90 days to approve those changes. Then the home rule article, that actually has to go to our legislature. And again, there's a packet of information that I have to make up. I've already sent that off, in fact, to our state senator and our state rep. And they will present that to the legislature, and then the legislature will have to act on it. Once those two pieces are done, then we can actually make the change in the name from Board of Selectmen to Select Board.
Amy said she has received calls with people asking that with the town election coming up, will the ballot reflect the name change?
The one major question is, so on the ballot, will it say Select Board? And no, it will not, because the deadline for the offices that are up for re-election have to be finalized by February 4th. So these changes will not be done prior to that. So on the ballot, it will say Board of Selectmen for this last time.
Finally, Amy said this change is in the name only, not in the functions or responsibilities of the board.
It is just a kind of more up-to-date title for our authorizing authority in town.
On a Zoom call with Town Clerk Amy Warfield, I'm BNEWS Director Rich Hosford.
Burlington's 2021 town election is heating up. There are now 3 contested races, and some newcomers have also thrown their hats into the ring in some as of now uncontested races. Thank you. In the race for the 2 open seats on the Board of Selectmen, there are 3 candidates. Incumbents Joe Morandi and Mike Runyon have both pulled papers. Challenger and town meeting member Sherry Ellis has also taken out papers and announced her candidacy. Runyon is looking for a 4th term, and Morandi is seeking a 3rd. Town Clerk Amy Warfield, who is finishing up her 2nd 5-year term, also has a challenger. Joseph Welch has taken out papers to run against her in April. Finally, school committee member Martha Simon, who has taken out papers for a 3rd term, is being challenged by newcomer Wahid Qureshi. Nomination papers can be received from the town's clerk's office by anyone who is a registered and resident voter. The deadline to return papers with the required signatures of other registered voters is Friday, February 19. The 2021 Burlington town election will be held on April 10th, Saturday, April 10th. The polls will be held in the Burlington High School Gymnasium and will be open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. As we reported last week, the DPW is asking residents not to leave cardboard on the ground near the dumpsters behind Town Hall. This week, Board of Selectmen Chair Joe Morandi met up with BNEWS Director Rich Hosford to reinforce that message and has this to say.
Burlington DPW is asking residents not to abuse a free service and create a mess behind Town Hall. There are currently 4 dumpsters in the Town Hall parking lot used for cardboard disposal. They are emptied 3 times a week, but sometimes, especially during the holiday season, they fill up quickly. When this happens, some people have been leaving cardboard on the ground around the dumpsters, and town officials would like them to stop.
There has been trash left outside. When these dumpsters get full, people just seem to have a tendency to throw it on the side. What happens with that is we have to send up DPW workers to pick up the trash, and then they have to bring it to Republic. So it's a added cost to us. These guys are doing other things, and they have to stop and pick up the trash.
Morandi also asked that people take the time to break down their boxes before leaving them.
So this is a great service to the town of Burlington. Republic has done this for us. They put them dumpsters out here. The biggest part is that people will drop off their cardboard, which is fantastic, but to break it up would be even better. When you put a box in their hole, it takes up a lot of the room inside the dumpster. If you break it and make it flat, we can put more trash in there, and maybe there'll be less on the outside of this.
Finally, he said that if the littering continues, they will crack down on offenders.
If they continue to keep doing what they're doing, we have options. We don't want to take it away from the residents at all, because it is such a wonderful thing to have for them. But there will be fines issued out, because there are now surveillance cameras out here, which work very well. And we will start to fine people. That's all we can really do. We're trying to keep it clean back here. People work inside that building right there, and they come in here and there's all kinds of trash hanging around and blowing around, and it's just not the right thing to do.
From the Town Hall parking lot, I'm BNews Director Rich Hosford.
Drones are the way of the future. BHS senior Avnish Rambokar has received his drone pilot license and will be looking for opportunities to use it. BNews reporter Robert Paris has this look.
Burlington High School senior Avnish Rambokar has recently received his license. But not just any license, a drone pilot license.
So I've always been interested in drones. I've flown it recreationally for around 2 years, but I started getting to more serious opportunities. Like I was part of the Indian Americans of Burlington group where I filmed and and took pictures of different events, and then I was part of a congressional campaign, and so I got into more higher level opportunities, and that was why I needed a license to perform those activities, just because they were way different than just being like a recreational flyer.
To achieve this accomplishment, Avnish applied for a scholarship from the Drone Pilot Ground School.
The Drone Pilot Ground Scholarship is for any high school student, 9th grade to 12th grade, and basically it covers the entire course, which is there's a lot of detailing with maps. There's a lot of just general rules and regulations that you have to cover too. And after 12 or 13 units, you have to do more practice tests. And the knowledge test, which is a test you take at the end to get your license, is 60 questions, and you have a maximum of 2 hours. For me, I passed with, not sure what the score was, but I passed in an hour and 10 minutes. So I took my time carefully, but luckily I was able to get through it.
Remboker will start exploring new opportunities as a drone pilot.
Specifically in BHS and my second semester as a senior, I plan to do an independent study with Mr. Wong, and then there's this website called Drone Base where you could find new opportunities and jobs for different people. So maybe they want videography or photography, or some other people might want surveying, so they could pay you to go out there and you fly your drone and you provide that all those footage and the pictures and everything to the people, and they can pay you. And so I might get into that a little bit and share my experience to that. It's good for me because as an 18-year-old, I can get more opportunities in the professional world. And then when I go into college, maybe I can dive into this subject a little bit more.
Student help desk instructor and instructional technology specialist Leroy Wan is excited to see what awaits Avnish and his drone license.
Well, I mean, I guess, with him being interested in it, he thought that maybe he could try to find drone jobs, so it is a growing field. So there are all sorts of different things that you can do. I think it's a field that will continue to maybe hopefully grow and evolve. And I think, for me personally, I'm hoping there will be other students that want to, take advantage with learning about drones and maybe, getting into it possibly as a profession.
Over Zoom with Avnish Remboker and Leroy Wan, I'm Robert Paris for BNEWS Weekly.
A long-standing chocolatier with a location in the Burlington Mall will be closing all of its retail locations in North America later this year. Godiva announced it is closing or selling all of its brick-and-mortar stores in North America in March and will focus more on selling its chocolate online. The company cited the economic slowdown due to the COVID-19 pandemic as one of the factors for the decision. Godiva CEO Nurtak Afridi said the decision was difficult because of the care we have for our dedicated and hardworking chocolatiers who will be impacted. However, the privately owned company would not say how many workers will be impacted by the closures. There are approximately 100 Godiva locations in North America. Godiva locations in Europe, the Middle East, and China will remain open. Godiva is a luxury chocolatier that was founded in 1926 in Brussels, Belgium. With a diverse mix of industry, office, retail, restaurants, medical, and open space, Burlington is earning a reputation and has earned a reputation as Boston's best neighbor. BNEWS Economic Development segment reintroduces us to Burlington's Economic Development Director, Melissa Tintakalis, and looks at the strides being made for Burlington's economy.
In January 2020, Melissa Tintakalis took the position of Burlington's first ever Economic Development Director.
And I'm really excited to be here and look forward to working for the residents.
We all know what happened in 2020.
Coming into this job with the pandemic at your heels obviously accelerated everything. So after, trying to kind of touch base with folks, the federal government had moved to distribute some, initial stimulus money. And that was to not only help bridge the gap for folks, but, just to, support them getting through this. The first kind of chunk of money that we were able to get help from were just, through the Small Business Association. So we really communicated that out to folks. Then we got some CDBG funds, and that was really, you had to be more proactive. And I think that's where, the town of Burlington and other communities who have put in place an economic development position have benefited, because they had kind of the horsepower to organize a grant, get some funding out, and then get it to the community. That was what we called the micro business loan through the CDBG fund. So it was a different pot of money, still through the federal government. And that one, at the end of the day, we've kind of helped 10 businesses. There's other federal money that had come through, also administered through the state, but we promoted it. And that was pretty significant. And, we've helped about 45 businesses through that program.
With behaviors shifting to working from home, Burlington faces challenges with its office space.
So we've been talking to our property owners about that. A lot of conversation comes into life science, like, okay, well, it's a hot industry. Let's just do office conversions. And I think we want to be kind of in an athletic stance and ready for that. Talking to our landlords and property owners and understanding that, what are your buildings? What's most likely and most ripe to have that kind of transformation? And other than life science, what other things have you heard of and thinking about? I think Burlington, the cool piece of why I even came to this community is people are ready to be innovative and flexible, which I think will lend itself to a real sustainable livability over time.
The town of Burlington is reaching out to residents in developing its economic future.
So the town survey, at this point we're calling the Lower Town Center survey. When I first came here, I did stakeholder interviews with, selectmen, community leaders from town meeting, and aside from them all, the town center and the health of the town center was really important to the community. I feel like this is really the heart of Burlington for those who live here. It's a neighborhood serving retail. People have an intimate relationship with a lot of the business there, from, the pizza joint to, the coffee at True North. It's more of a community-oriented area. That said, there's still a lot of room for kind of improving what could be there. At this point, what we're trying to do is leverage what the state has, in terms of the funding for us. And one grant I was able to secure was called the Mass Downtown Initiative grant funding program, and put together a proposal that I felt in line with our master plan, and kind of the feedback I had heard from the community was that let's figure out ways to activate some of our downtown, our town center. So what we put together is the town center placemaking survey, and we're getting it out to people. If you've seen it on your social media or anything, please take it, because I'm aiming for 1,000 responders, and right now we have about 400. It kind of just lays a map out of the town center. It lays ideas out for what could be possible. And it tries to get ideas from the community and the businesses, like, what would you like to see here? And it tends to be in the spaces that you wouldn't think of. Maybe a parking lot, maybe an alleyway will lend itself to increased business activity, having something that's fresh and interesting, and get something implemented for the spring. And with a playbook, the idea is to have several ideas over the different seasons, so we can kind of take out what might work or test out a couple things. Low cost, relatively quick, and I think it'll help people rethink what's possible in the town center.
Burlington is also pioneering in biotech with Mass Hire.
There's been a real kind of strong demand in even entry-level jobs needed for biomanufacturing, healthcare, and other life science fields. And so with that, we were able to secure, between Bedford and Burlington, over $300,000 for just workforce training. And we're excited about that. As much as it won't hit a ton of people, we really feel strongly that it'll be a few people, but it'll be quality and meaningful change in their life, and prepare them for a field that's going to grow and have a lot of opportunity. It works that you can get $8,000 to $15,000 for funding, depending on the program you choose, and land a job too. So we've been in touch with Leahy, Millipore, Sarepta to make sure that we're not just training and sending people out without prospects, but make sure that it's really targeted and then help them land the job. One thing that governments can do, in terms of intervention, is just getting the word out. What is Burlington doing? What is it about these days? Why should I bring my business there? So we're in the process of developing a very commercially focused website that highlights our 4 main industries, which is currently we have life science, healthcare, and obviously our strong kind of hospitality, restaurant, retail piece. And then this really cool industry that's kind of growing, you'll be hearing more about it, which is 3D manufacturing. Those are things we want to highlight and just share with people. We have real neat innovation going on in Burlington, and we haven't been able to promote that. So once we have that anchored, we're going to be doing a bigger launch, and it's connected to also a social media campaign, which is called Bring Me to Burlington. We're testing it out right now, so you might see things on your Instagram or Facebook feed. That is the town of Burlington, and we're just testing out a few things. So once we have that website kind of up and running, we'll be able to anchor it back to that, and you'll see more information from us on that. There's a lot going on here besides just how I can help you through kind of an entitlement process. But look what's also here.
And B News looks forward to tracking Burlington's gains. From Town Hall, this is B News reporter Tad Stefanak.
The Burlington Red Devils are battling their way through the winter sports season. For all the latest action, we go now to B News sports reporter Liz Gillespie for this week's sports report.
Hey everyone, I'm Liz Gillespie for your weekly sports report. The Burlington High winter season continues with just a few weeks left, and we have the scoop on what's been happening, so let's get to it. The Lady Devils basketball team faced off against the Wakefield Warriors on Saturday, January 23rd at BHS. We have some highlights, so let's get to it.
The Burlington girls varsity basketball team faced off against the Wakefield Warriors on Saturday, January 23rd. Let's roll the highlights. The Lady Devils scored 10 unanswered points in the first period, while Wakefield had 9. During the second, Burlington put up another 9 points, and the Warriors added 1. At the half, it was 19-10 Burlington. Now in the third, the Lady Devils only put up 4 points, while Wakefield added 6. 23-16 at the end of the third. The girls picked up the pace in the fourth as the Devils added 10 points and the Warriors only had 3. The final in the game was 33-19 Burlington.
The girls improved to 5-0 on the season and will face the Warriors again on Saturday, January 30th in Wakefield. Boys varsity basketball resumed the season on Wednesday, January 27th against the Warriors in Wakefield. The team went into a double overtime and lost by a 3-pointer. 89-86 was the final score. Burlington drops to 2-1 on the season and will be playing Wakefield again on Saturday, January 30th at the BHS gym. This game will be live streamed at 11 a.m. on the BCAT Facebook page. Girls hockey headed to the Stoneham Arena to take on the Wakefield Warriors on Tuesday, January 26th, where at the time they were in search of their 4th win. Burlington got another W that evening and moved forward to 4-0-1 on the season. Red Devils hockey hosted a game against the Wakefield Warriors on Wednesday, January 27th at the Burlington Ice Palace. We have some highlights, so let's check those out.
Burlington boys varsity hockey faced off against the Wakefield Warriors on Wednesday, January 27th. Let's roll the highlights. In the first half, senior captain and defenseman Colin Brown brought the Devils up 1-0. During the early minutes of the second half, Wakefield's Calvin Triner tied it 1-1. Wakefield's Matthew Moniz passed it to Ryan Rosini for a go-ahead goal, 2-1 Wakefield. The Warriors' defense didn't drop the ball when it came to the Burlington offense, as they stopped them from scoring another goal. 2-1 was the final, Wakefield.
Girls gymnastics will have another home meet against the Stoneham Spartans on Thursday, January 28th at BHS. They continue the season at 2-0. We have some highlights, so let's check those out.
Girls varsity gymnastics hosted the Stoneham Spartans on Thursday, January 28th at Burlington High School. The evening was a bit special as it was senior night for the athletes who will be graduating this June. Graduating athletes are Winnie Sakaya, Megan Flett, Sophia Grinnell, Sam Mira, Kaylin Nobrega, Casey Pustisi, and Nora Shea. Scoring-wise, the girls were in a tight match throughout. However, in the end, the girls eked it out with a total score of 137 for Burlington and 136.65 for Stoneham. Burlington continues the season at 3-0.
The girls will have another meet on Saturday, January 30th at BHS. Burlington boys gymnastics had a home meet against the Newton North Tigers. The North Tigers scored a total of 65.7 points in the 3 events, while the Red Devils scored 64.3 in the 3 events. In total, the meet ended in a total score of 130. The team drops to 2-1 in the season and will have another home meet next Wednesday, February 3rd. Be sure to check out the BNEWS Twitter page and the BNEWS Sports Hub website at bcattv.org. And that's all for your weekly sports report. I'm Liz Gillespie. Back to you guys in the studio.
It's definitely a cold one today. To see what's in store for the week ahead, we go now to BNews weatherman Peter Brown for the latest forecast. We'll also check out the community calendar with Jolie Atwood to see what's happening in Burlington.
Well, hello everyone, this is Peter Brown with Look at Your Weather for the next 7 days. Here we are heading, I know it's hard to believe, into February. As we start out our period on Friday, we're going to be seeing some pretty chilly temperatures out there, so very typical for this time of the year. Highs only in the upper 20s, so definitely chilly, and if you have to be out there at night, look at this. Our temperatures are down again in the single digits, so very chilly if you're out there and around on Friday night. Now, as we round out our period getting into next Thursday, here we are February 4th, heading into what we really consider to be the meat and potatoes of the winter time. I know that we're pretty much by the half-point part, but this is when some of our biggest snowstorms and weather problems can come to us during the winter in February. But it looks like things are going to be not too bad as we round out the period. Temperatures, we think by then, are going to be a little bit above average, maybe up into the upper 30s to near 40, ahead of maybe another big wet storm coming. So we'll have to see how that pans out. But of course, the one thing that you notice is the days keep getting longer and longer. As we go ahead, let's take a look at what the Climate Prediction Center is calling for us for the next 7 to 10 days. And again, here they're calling again for us to have temperatures slightly at or maybe above average, and that's going to be mostly true. I see a couple of kind of chilly days, though, coming up, so we'll have to see if that really verifies or not. And looking at our precipitation chances, it looks like we're looking at a chance of above average precipitation, and that definitely is going to be noticeable when we get into the Sunday and Monday time frame as a kind of sloppy storm. Unfortunately, maybe some rain mixed with some heavy wet snow will be mixed in here in the Burlington area, so we'll have to keep our eyes on that. So as we go ahead, let's take a look at that 7 days of weather coming up. And again, starting out our period on Friday, some pretty chilly temperatures out there, sunny, but temperatures only in the upper 20s and down into the single digits at night. So pretty chilly. And again, pretty chilly on our Saturday as well, temperatures only around 30. And that's going to be setting us up ahead of what we think is going to be a pretty messy storm going into probably the second half of Sunday and into most of Monday. Now, right now, it looks like the low pressure center is going to be maybe a little bit too close to the coast of New England for it to be all snow, but whatever snow we do get here in the Burlington area is going to be heavy and wet snow. So not sure if it's going to be plowable at this point, but we'll have to keep an eye out. And as we head out to the end of the period, we're going to see our temperatures about average again for this time of the year, getting a little bit warmer as we get into the tail end of the period, ahead of what might be a bit of a warm-up and a large rainstorm may be coming for next Friday, so we'll have to keep our eyes out on that. So everyone, get out there, enjoy the weather, and have a great week.
Hi, I'm Jolie Atwood, and this is your community calendar. Enjoy a nice game of chess. On Tuesday, February 2nd at 7 p.m., the Burlington Public Library will be having a virtual BPL chess club. Everyone is welcome, and pre-registration is required. To register, go to burlington.org or call 781-270-1690. Come and learn how to dance. Starting on Wednesday, February 3rd, the Burlington Parks and Recreation Department is having a program called Ballroom and Latin Dance Sampler. The program will be taught by Cadance Studio. It's $50 per person and or $70 per couple. Everyone is welcome, and pre-registration is required. To register, go to burlingtonrecreation.org or call 781-270-1695. Relax and take an opportunity to paint. On Sunday, February 14th at 1:30 p.m., the Academy of Creative Arts is having a 4-week session for teens and adults who enjoy painting. To sign up and for more information, go to academyofcreativearts.com/adultart. I'm Jolie Atwood, and that was your community calendar.
To Council on Aging Director Marge McDonald for a special edition of Senior News concerning the situation surrounding the COVID-19 vaccines. Let's take a look.
Hello, I'm Marge McDonald, Director of the Burlington Council on Aging. The rollout for vaccinating those 75 and over has not gone as smoothly as we had all hoped. Things are extremely chaotic and stressful for everyone involved, and most especially for those of you who have been imprisoned in your homes for the last 11 months. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, but it seems so dim as to not even exist. I promise you, it does exist. Hang in there. We'll get there. Yesterday, Secretary Chen of Elder Affairs met with the Council on Aging directors and Secretary Sutters met with the legislature. We were informed that there will be a phone line to call and the number will be announced next week. I'm sure the first couple of days the lines will be jammed, but be patient. Maybe wait a few days before trying. When we receive the phone number, I promise I will put it out everywhere, as I'm sure the state will as well. In the meantime, if you are computer savvy, keep trying. We have been told that more vaccine is coming and we will get more and more as time goes on. The first few weeks will just be a little rough until we get more at a time. I will continue to send information to BCAT as I receive it. In Burlington, we are working on getting vaccine, and the COA and Board of Health are partnering to get everyone 75 and older vaccinated. If you are not computer savvy and you don't have family or friends who can get in line for you or online for you, please give the COA a call and we can try to help you. Also, please know that Leahy is starting to vaccinate their patients 75 and older, so a really good option is to wait to hear from them. If you do not drive, we will be able to assist you in transportation there as well. There is a short supply of vaccine, and it may take some time to get it in. But in the meantime, continue to do what you've been doing. Stay home as much as possible. If you do have to go out, wear a mask and social distance, and practice patience. Lots of patience. Thank you.
Another week, another photo to highlight. This week's photo has us back out in nature. It was sent in by Phyllis Neufeld and features a swan walking on the ice at Hong Pond. I'm sure the swan is looking forward to spring even more than we are. Thanks for the photo, Phyllis. We'd like to see your photos. They could be of your holiday activities, a family trip, or just everyday moments, whatever you think is interesting and want to share. Email your photo to bcat@bcattv.org with the subject line Photo of the Week. Okay, that's it from the news desk here at BNEWS Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher along with Rich Hosford, Tad Stefanak, Robert Paris, Liz Gillespie, Peter Brown, Marge McDonald, and Jolie Atwood. Thank you for joining us.